20, 30, 40, 50, 120 shots from that weapon, whether it's a 9mm pistol or whether it's a rifle, is ridiculous. I'm continuing to push to eliminate the sale of those things.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Death by Tyranny podcast. It's a little bit early for me to be on here, but I was thinking about it. AmericaFirst.live comes on at 9 Eastern. Everybody's in the lobby causing some havoc there. And Jaden usually comes on after that, along with Beardson. I'm not sure where all they stream from, but I do know that they are on, I believe, YouTube for sure. And I know Alex Jones at InfoWars, he comes on pretty early, along with Louder by Crowder, with Steven Crowder. So those are all the main, guys kind of stirring up ruckus and things that the Democrat Party don't want you to know about or hear about. So I figure I will try to fill in where I fit in, if that makes any sense. Another reason why I wanted to go live is because I keep thinking about this one thing, and the more and more I think about it, the more irritated I get, the more hot and bothered I become. And something happened yesterday that just fueled that anger. And I'm not sure that a lot of people are aware of it. I don't even know that the mainstream media is going to cover it. I doubt it. You might have caught a little bit of it at the very beginning before they knew what was going on. But here's what's going on, and here's what's happening. You constantly hear the left and the Democrats talk about white school shooters, right? All the school shootings are done by white children or white, young adults. And that's just not the case. More than half of school shootings in or around schools are done by minorities. That just is the facts. You can look up the FBI data. It's there. They just want you to believe that these evil white children are the ones carrying out all these mass shootings. So yesterday, we had a mass shooting in a school, therefore a school shooting. And when it first came out, you know how things are, right? It's a very dramatic situation. And of course, the news is real quick and in a hurry to put something out there so they can be the first ones to profit off of these poor children's demise. And this school was in Texas, which just was given the right to carry however the fuck they want. If you can legally own a gun in Texas, you can carry it however you want. And that's how it should be in every state. Mike DeWine, our governor in Ohio, get your shit together. Anyways. So, this school in Texas, I guess a fight breaks out. You can find some of the footage of the fight out there. But, of course, social media and everywhere else is taking these videos down as fast as they come up. And so all these liberals go to Twitter and say, oh, look at that. They pass, less gun control and allow people to carry guns. And not even a few months have gone by and we're already having school shootings. Well, here's the thing. The kid gained the firearm illegally. He could not legally own that firearm. So it doesn't matter what laws were in place. That's irrelevant. The child got the firearm. Another reason why people were real quick and in a hurry to put this out there on Twitter and to cover it is because the neighborhood it was in was kind of a suburban neighborhood. So they are just assuming and hoping that this is a white child with an assault weapon killing other children. That's what they were hoping for. Have you heard about this? No, I'm sure you haven't heard about this. Anyways, it was a minority child who brought this firearm into school after what it looks like he was the aggressor in the fight. Now, I can't say that for certain because we don't know. We are only trying to piece things together as they get taken down. But it does look like he was the bigger aggressor in the situation and in the fight, where whoever was the aggressor was beating the holy hell out of the other kid, right? It didn't look like a fair fight, really. It didn't look like the child on the ground was really putting up a fight. At that point, I wonder why teachers weren't brave enough to step in, or at least try to. Maybe it was a smaller female teacher. I'm not sure. But this is why we should have more security in our schools. And so, I guess after the fight, this child goes and gets a gun and brings it back in the school and just starts shooting. Some say that he hunted down certain people. I'm not sure how true that is. Yesterday, they were reporting that people died. That is not the case. As far as I am aware of, people were only injured, one being a teacher. And so you have all these things going on, and as soon as they figure out who the suspect is, silence. Silence by Twitter and the media. They no longer want to cover it because it was an illegal firearm obtained by a child who was a minority in a suburban school who come in and just starts blasting, right? Well, if this would have been a white child, it would have been all over the news. And this is really all the evidence you need for this white displacement and this CRT anti-white hate. That's what it is. And this we see in real time. And it boils my blood. Not only should they not be trying to profit and get views off of the suffering of children, but it should not become more or less relevant due to the color of the shooter's skin. If the people he would have shot would have died, there will be arguments to be made that this could have been another Columbine. And in my opinion, it was an attempt at another Columbine and should be treated as such. But we are already seeing our justice system fail. It is not being treated like another Columbine. The mother of the shooter was interviewed, and I'm gonna put on some background music real quick. I got some people walking by my house and they're... All right, anyways, you have the mother of this child come out, and, you know, of course, the media wants to interview this lady. And she said, well, it could have been worse. He could have went home and committed suicide. Now, I understand that this is the mother of the child, but to me, that is a very selfish statement to wish death upon multiple innocent children because your child is a psychopath, as long as he doesn't commit suicide. I would also like to point out that the police did not kill this minority school shooter, probably because he gave up and surrendered, because that's how it's supposed to work. But if you listen to the left and the media, you know, he would have been shot in cold blood because he is a minority. And when they were looking for the suspect, they had a mugshot and they refused to show it. But you bet your ass if it would have been a white kid, his mugshot would have been plastered all over the news, worldwide. Why do we continue to let the left and this mainstream media narrative continue? And if you are to fight back, like we see teachers doing at school board meetings with the CRT, we have the, hold on, I got it here for you guys, just because I knew I was going to forget it. The NSBA. So I imagine that's like the National School Board Assembly or something like that. Writes a letter to the FBI and the DOJ trying to make these parents at these school board meetings domestic terrorists. Now, we have AP, which, let's see what AP stands for. Oh, yeah, that's right. Associated Press coming out and fact-checking this, saying that they did not send a letter to the FBI and the DOJ trying to classify these parents as domestic terrorists. Yes, the fuck they did. You guys really need to go and look at the letter itself. What they did is they fact-checked the statement made after them calling for them to be classified as a domestic terrorist, to say that the claims were untrue. So, there you have it. When you do speak out, you're fact-checked. When you do speak out, you are called a domestic terrorist. They are trying to make it to a point where if you're white or concerned that your children might be learning something other than this LGBTQ, globalist handbook, that you're the devil. You're a domestic terrorist and you are going to do horrible things. In most cases at these school board meetings, if there is violence, it's usually it's usually parent on parent, and it's very little, if anything. These people are just being cowards, is what they're doing. They are trying to silence these parents so they continue to feed your children this nonsense, saying that they know what your children should learn and not learn, and that you have no say-so in it. It is absurd. I've said it before. The community that you live in should decide what it is your children should learn. And the people in that community that should have the most impact on what your children learn are the parents. Whether you like how they feel or not, whether you like what they believe or not. Other than that, math, science, even science to some extent is being twisted for their evil agenda. But, math, writing, cursive, whatever. These are things that should be taught in school, not this CRT agenda. I think they're trying to get us to a point where we just don't know what to do, where we are too scared to speak out against this. And in my opinion, with this call for the parents to be labeled as domestic terrorists, I think we should go harder. I think we should let them know we will not stop. Blow it up here for you guys. So here it is. Fox News. AP fact check falsely claims NSBA never requested protesting parents to be labeled as domestic terrorist. And then down here a little bit of ways, we have where the Associated Press is doing the fact checking contrary to false claims. So there's that. And then you have Christopher F. He has the letter down here, so you can check that out. I'm sure you can probably find this somewhere online. I'm sure it's been taken down from a lot of places. But this is where we're at. And the reason why I wanted to go and support Nick Fuentes at the anti-vax protest is because people aren't doing this. They're not protesting. They're going to school boards in the worst possible scenarios. We need to go on the offense. We need to let them know that this is unacceptable. Even if your schools aren't doing things like this, we should let them know that we will not stand for it before it even gets into our schools. You have to be proactive with these things. Or else before you know it, it's there. And that leads me into the next thing, and I wanted to wait a little bit before I got into it, because of course I'm sure they kind of scan the beginning of these videos. But there have been multiple people that had predicted this to begin with. They said, you're going to get the mandates. Well, you're not going to get mandates. Biden comes out. We wouldn't mandate things like that. Boom, we get the mandates. We get the passports. We're not going to force vaccines on people. Boom, they're forcing vaccines on people. And then we told you that they are going to use this to pick and choose who they decide to give medical care to. And we were told that's outrageous. They would never do that. They have an oath to keep, to save lives. Well, it was breaking news last night, although Alex Jones came out today and had a doctor claim that it was breaking news. This has been out on the intranets for at least 24 hours that I know of. I do believe Nick covered it last night on AmericaFirst.live. That a lady was denied a kidney. She was on the waiting list to get a new kidney because she was unvaccinated. And I guess she was pretty close in the process to where they were actually going to do the surgery. And they asked her, hey, are you vaccinated? She said no. They told her to go home. And they can try to cover this up, but this came out in like UC's medical newsletter or something like that. I mean, so it happened. It absolutely happened. And again, I've said this before. We are not going to get into a civil war. We are in civil war. It might not be hot yet, but it is a cold, new civil war that we are in. It is a civil war against the elites and the peons, really. Now, I understand it may seem like it's this people against those people, unvaxxed against vaccinated, blacks versus whites. But that is just a psyop from the elites to get us to bicker amongst each other so they can take total control. And they have. Now they are going to let people die because they are unvaccinated. If you are on a organ waiting list, you're probably pretty bad off. And if your last hope is to get that organ, and you've waited, I'm not sure how long this lady waited, but the reason she was unvaccinated was due to religious exemption. So this is wrong on multiple levels. They just signed that lady's death certificate because she was unvaccinated. And if she wishes to live, she must go against her religion and get the vaccine. I do believe we have a constitution that says we have the right to practice whatever religion we would like. Last time I checked. So this is clearly already in pretty muddy waters when it comes to being constitutional or not. And it's just downright wrong. And in my opinion, Ashley Babbitt could have been seen as maybe the first person casualty, if you will, in this cold civil war that is pretty much going hot at this point. But if you want to say that she was breaking the law and it was a justified shoot, I'm not here to argue that. But that does mean that it wouldn't be the first casualty, I guess. Then if this lady dies, it would be. She would be the first person to die because she was told that she must be vaccinated and go against her religion. Or she doesn't get the kidney that she needs to continue living. Therefore, she would die. And it is not just her dying. It would be murder, in my eyes at least. So you have the first public murder in this civil war. This is how it's going to happen. And I don't see a lot of evidence to argue the fact that it's not. They are going to knock us off one by one, little by little. And the ones that aren't killed in cold blood, they will lose their rights to the point where it is unbearable. That's where the name of this podcast comes from. Death by tyranny. One by one, gun by gun, death will come by tyranny. There was something else I wanted to touch upon. Again, last night, Nicholas J. Fuentes had brought up that there were some leaked documents that the government was using search words from Google. And I do believe there were search dates as well. I don't know how in-depth Nick got. I can't really remember, but there were other people that covered this. There were, I think, 6 sentences or words, and then there was 4 dates. And if you search these, they are pretty much asking for warrants, or they were granted warrants to go into your phone, whatever they need to, your bank account, to see what's going on there, see what all you got going on, see if you're committing any crimes. So your due process is just being shit all over, all the time. So they're going to find you. You're not going to be able to hide. So at this point, you might as well live, right? Just do what you're going to do. Because when it comes the time that they're going to pick you off, they're just going to do it. And it's going to be way too late before we all get smart enough to come together and try to fight this. You're just going to have, what it is you have this very small portion of the population of the United States that wants this immense power. And then they have followers that worship them, that echo their demands. Then you have most of the population that says nothing, that is silent, or they're on the fence. They don't want to stir the pot. They just want to see which way the wind blows and who wins. This is cowardice behavior. And then you have another small portion of that population that is fighting back against this power grab. That is what is going on in the United States, whether you like it or not. Try to figure out what percentage of people you are in that scenario. If you are one of these people sitting on the fence or not saying something, if you disagree with vaccine mandates, your time to be quiet and just try to skate through this is over. You will not skate through this. You will be affected. So if you disagree with it, it is time to take a stand. And if you've been vaccinated, act like you haven't. If you disagree with the mandates, burn your vaccine passports. Burn them. If someone says, hey, have you been vaccinated? Say, no, absolutely not, and I will not be. Because every person that complies with this vaccine mandate or gets a vaccine to go on vacation or to play a sport, that is one more point scored for the elites. That is one step closer to their complete control. And we need more people in the small portion of the population that is fighting against this crazy power grab. I know I went a little hard on the Libertarians the last video. I was tired. Like I said, it was pretty slow, but it's the truth. Either they're being silent or they just leave everyone to do as they will. And we see what the left is doing. We see what the Democrats are doing. You see they're trying to increase the debt limit, which they can absolutely do. They are just hoping that some Republicans are stupid enough, and there will be, to go along so when shit hits the fan and it's a total dumbass move, they can pass some of the blame onto the Republicans. Oh, yeah, we increased the debt limit, but the Republicans wanted it too. And it might be 1 or 2, maybe 3. And that's what they're hoping for. But they could do it today, they could do it tomorrow, and it will be done. So if you're thinking, hey, there's a slim chance they won't increase the debt limit, we might be okay here, that's not the case. It's going to happen. And that is just going to add fuel to the fire, to the demise of the United States that is almost inevitable at this point. You know, you got this infrastructure bill that apparently is supposed to be free, but we got debt falling out of our assholes. We have news networks every single day, every minute of every day, looking to target the white population as evil and as criminals, while you have mass portions of minority populations in these shithole cities burning it to the ground. Mass shootings every weekend in Chicago. But the only thing they're looking for is something to fuel their narrative. And what? So maybe 10% of the population on either side is fighting this battle, while 80% sits on the sidelines. It's not okay. It's not right. And you need to figure your shit out. It's time to join the fight. That's just what it is. I'm sorry if you thought this was going to blow over. I hope it does. But I just don't see how it could. Every time we get a little glimmer of hope, things get worse. And that's just where we are. They will find you. They will single you out. And you will be dealt with. That is the U.S. government at this point in time in America. And there aren't enough people that are going to gather together, that's going to be able to fight them off. Mass non-compliance could work, but you would have, and it wouldn't even have to be like the majority that were mass non-compliant. If you had a small percentage of nurses walk out, a small percentage of parents pull their children out of public schools, if you had a small portion of the population and the unions and the truckers stop doing their job, and all of this happened at once, not only would they notice, but life as we know it in the United States would come to a screeching halt. And at that point, who is in control and the power will shift. At that point, we can make actual change. And that is the peaceful game plan, as of right now, one of the only ones that I can think of that is going to be able to fight the government where it stands right now and as much power as it has. So until then, all I can do is come to you here and there and let you know what's going on. White people are being targeted every day against this evil agenda, or this evil agenda is targeting them. You have people like Charlie Kirk that only comes out and speaks against this when Tucker Carlson says it's okay. It's not been okay for a long time, Charlie. Get your shit together. Just because you wanted to be politically correct so you could shill your bullshit at TPUSA and sell another t-shirt, you're selling out your people is what you're doing, Charlie. And if you were speaking out against this long ago, good for you. And those are the people that we hope to highlight here on this podcast and this channel, so you guys know where to go to for good information. So you know that there are people out there that are in the fight for you. Because if you're just going on who says they're conservative, you might be being stabbed in the back. And Charlie Kirk has been known to do this quite often. Same with Ben Shapiro. Very high intelligence, but with that intelligence, they are making money. I don't know if that's their main concern, but saving their people in the United States, where they get the vast amount of their followers are these people that want to save America, and they preach this message, but at the same time you have Ben Shapiro saying that we should pretty much carry Israel all the ways to the promised land. Charlie Kirk only speaks on things that matter if Tucker Carlson says it first. And until then, he won't only not speak about it, but he'll speak against it. So we have to find better sources of conservative networking that are really doing the right things for us. There are companies that are doing the right thing, and I know some of them get a lot of criticism because they speak out against gay marriage, and they are very religious, and they're not afraid to say it. But these are the people doing the work that matters. I don't even know why who cares if you're politically correct if you are saving people? If you save the United States, do you really think they're going to give a shit if you culturally appropriate someone? I don't think so. I was watching a YouTube video today, and his little boy was dressed up like Miles Morales, which, if you don't know, is the Black Spider-Man. Of course there's a fucking Black Spider-Man. It's 2021. Anyways, he don't even get another cool name either. It's just the new Spider-Man, the better Spider-Man, the one with the cooler costume. Anyways, he does not show his child's face because he doesn't wish for his child to be attacked for culturally appropriating Miles Morales, because he is a black superhero, and I'm assuming the child was white. But the child likes Miles Morales, so he bought the costume. You would think this would be a good thing to the lefties and the people who give a shit about things like this. You would think it would be a white family supporting an African-American superhero and supporting change in the Marvel Universe, or whatever bullshit you want to believe. But instead, he was afraid to culturally appropriate his child because he's on the internet and he knows he would be attacked for it. This is the main issue with CRT as well. When it comes down to it, if you want to break it down, it isn't what did we do wrong and how do we fix it. It's you cannot do anything right. You're white, deal with it. You're the white devil, deal with it. That's why we got to get that shit out of our schools. How is your child supposed to grow up and be something great? You have to have inspiration, aspiration. You have to believe in yourself. Well, how can you do all three of those things if you are constantly being told you are evil? Your history is nothing but the cruel torture of other cultures. Everything that your ancestors did is in vain because the things that they did wrong. This is not a way to teach our children. This is not a way to move forward as a society. It is something that we must continue to fight. And like I said, I don't believe in giving school shooters a boost in fame, so I don't want to share the mugshot. But at the same time, I want to shout it from the rooftops. And if I did that, I would be called a racist and a bigot because I shared a screenshot of a school shooter that was not white. But if it was the other way, I would be glorified. Glorified on Twitter and Instagram and YouTube and everywhere else that fucking they spread their bullshit. Yeah, down with Whitey. White kids are the devil. But if you get on the internet and say, hey, look, 63% of all school shootings are done by minorities, and the majority of those being in minority neighborhoods, how dare you say that? How dare you talk about facts and statistics that are true? This is the United States of America that your children are going to grow up in, where they are constantly pointed at and being called the enemy. Why are you still sitting on the fence? Why are you still not doing anything? Why are you not speaking out against this every chance you get? I don't care what they call me. I am a good father. I am a God-fearing man. And that's all I care about. The rest is just, piss in the wind, really. I could care less. So, we're going to wrap this up. I got some things to do around the house. I got the landlord coming over to do a walkthrough. We're going to try to buy our home. Hopefully we can do that. I am going to look into some of the super chat options that I have since I can't go through YouTube. And this isn't because I want to make money off of these. I mean, obviously it would be nice if I didn't have to work a full-time job. I could do more with this, but that's not why. The reason why is because Nick Fuentes is talking about doing the next anti-vax protest in New York, and that's a little bit further away than Illinois. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to attend it unless I rent a car and maybe take a day off of work. I think the guy that went with me last time is probably going to be on maternity leave, so I don't know that he's going to be able to afford it. So hopefully I am able to help him out since he helped me out going to Illinois protest. I can return the favor and help him go to the one in New York. But I have 3 children, and I'm not sure that I will be able to manage that financially. So if I look into it and I can figure something out, that is what I'm going to be asking support for. As much as I would like to pay for all this equipment that I have here, a lot of it I got in trading firearms, which I could have sold for money. But anyways, instead of paying off some of this stuff, I would really like to continue to do the protest stuff and support people that are actually doing things that matter. Actually speaking up for children in schools that are being masked. People that are speaking up against this anti-white narrative. Because if I don't do that, well then I am one of those people that are sitting on the fence. And I refuse. So with that, guys, have a great rest of your day. I love you guys. Stay safe. Stay prepared. Peace, y'all.